Good afternoon and welcome to Wednesday Workshops with Whitney. I'm going to wait a minute or so and then I'll get started. If you'd like to write in the chat box your name, that would be great, but you never have to. All right, so welcome to Wednesday Workshops with Whitney. I will be your host, Whitney. During this week's Wednesday Workshop with Whitney, we will be discussing how to stop being so hard on yourself. Are you always criticizing yourself? I will be providing education on where these negative thoughts come from, the detrimental effects they have on our health and lives, and how to overcome them. But before we begin, we need to start with our icebreaker. So today we're going to be doing an icebreaker question. So I'm going to ask us all a question. And if you feel like sharing your response, you can type it in the chat box or text message it to my work phone or email me, or you don't have to share it. So since we're going to be talking about how to stop being hard on ourselves, the question of the day is, what is something that you did today that you're proud of? What is something that you did today that you are proud of? Okay, what is something that you did today that you are proud of? Does anyone have a response they would like to share? I got to think of mine still, so I'll give us all about a minute. Okay, I guess I'll go then. I am proud of myself today because I scheduled an appointment to take my car in to get its maintenance. And sometimes I put that off, but I'm glad that I didn't because I need it to get checked out. After a certain amount of miles, you're supposed to bring it in. So I'm bringing it in on Friday. All right, Modensi shared that something she's proud of is that she slept in late because she goes to sleep late. So that's great because if you go to sleep late, you definitely deserve to be able to sleep in sometimes. Thank you for sharing that, Modensi. I really appreciate it. All right, great. So next, I have two articles that I kind of combined together. The first is called Always Being Hard on Yourself, 7 Ways to Halt the Habit. And the second is Why You Should Stop Being So Hard on Yourself. And that's from the New York Times. The first is from Harley Therapy Counseling blog. So I'm going to read through these articles and we'll discuss them. And then we're going to end with a guided imagery script called A Walk on the Beach. Steve shared that I got caught up on work. Oh, great. That's very good. You should be proud of yourself for that. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to type them or text me. If you have any advice while we go through these on how tips to help you help us not be so hard on ourselves, I always appreciate that as well. All right. So the Always Being Hard on Yourself, 7 Ways to Halt the Habit, I found on Harley Therapy Counseling blog. It's a UK website by Andrea Blundell. And then the Why You Should Stop Being So Hard on Yourself, I found in the New York Times website by Charlotte Lieberman. So let's begin. We're all our own worst critics. Have you ever heard that before? Yes, it's an obnoxious cliche, but it's not just self-help fluff. Evolutionary psychologists have studied our natural negativity bias, which is that instinct in us that makes negative experiences seem more significant than they really are. In other words, we've evolved to give more weight to our flaws, mistakes, and shortcomings than our successes. Self-criticism takes a toll on our minds and bodies, said Dr. Richard Davidson, founder and director of the Center for Healthy Minds at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where he also teaches psychology and psychiatry. It can lead to ruminating thoughts that interfere with our productivity, and it can impact our bodies by stimulating inflammatory mechanisms that lead to chronic illness and accelerate aging, he said. But that's not the end of the story. There are ways around our negativity bias, and it is possible to turn self-criticism into opportunities for learning and personal growth. But first, let's talk about how we got here. So, why are we so hard on ourselves? That negative voice in your head isn't something that you were born with. Somewhere along the way, you learn to think like this. It might have been a parent who always criticized you, a teacher who shamed you, or even a sibling who constantly bullied you. Always being hard on yourself can also be the result of childhood trauma or adverse childhood experiences, which are also called ACEs. And while I bring that up, Steve and I are going to be giving a presentation on COVID-19 and its effects on mental health and kind of how we can move forward next week. So if you're interested in attending that, contact your HHCD office. One way a child copes is unfortunately to internalize experiences as their own fault, bringing on a lifetime of shame and low self-esteem until support for trauma is found. Evolution has also designed us to be hard on ourselves. Our brains equip us with a mechanism to monitor our mind and our behavior, Dr. Davidson says, so that when we make errors, we are able to notice the mistake. In order to recover, we first must notice that a mistake has occurred, he said. Just noticing that we've deviated from our expectations or goals, whether that's eating too much or not completing a daily to-do list, isn't necessarily the same thing as degrading ourselves into a shame spiral. In some cases, like when our safety or moral integrity are on the line, it's crucial that our brains tell us good from bad so that we learn the right lessons from our experiences. But as they said, learning between what's right and wrong, oh, thanks for the thumbs up, is not the same as putting ourselves down constantly and telling ourselves how, even though we did A, B, and C, we didn't get D, E, and F done. But sometimes assigning negative value to our experiences and behaviors can ensnare us, Dr. Davidson said, into cycles of unhelpful rumination when you lie in bed at night needlessly replaying an awkward interaction or repeatedly revisiting that minor typo. This is where we get into the harmful, counterproductive side of self-criticism. So I kind of explained it, but what ruminating means is when something happens, and it could be a traumatic event, it could be something else, like they said, an encounter with someone, and you feel really bad about it. So you keep replaying it in your head over and over again in like an obsessive way, and you have a hard time not thinking about it. So it can be super harmful. And it's that type of self-criticism that can have measurably destructive effects, including symptoms of depression, anxiety, substance abuse, negative self-image, and in a particularly vicious twist, decreased motivation and productivity, according to a study published in the Journal of Psychotherapy Integration. Another study published in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that self-criticism leads people to become preoccupied with failure. So that would make sense with the rumination as well. If you feel like you didn't do something right, you might start ruminating about other points in your life where you felt like you failed. Basically, beating yourself up for finishing only 3 of the 5 items on your to-do list is going to make you less likely to finish those last 2 items. And yet we're programmed to fall into that pattern. So now that we know kind of where the negative self-talk comes from, how do we become less hard on ourselves so that we actually can be more productive and happy and feel better about the things that we accomplish in our lives? So here are our 7 ways to stop being so hard on yourself. Number 1, record your wins. When we are truly hard on ourselves, our mind glazes over any accomplishments or even forgets them entirely. Writing down our accomplishments or positive actions is more powerful than it sounds because focusing on what we do right changes our perspective. If you find it too hard to stick to, try piggybacking this new habit to an old habit. For example, make your nightly teeth brushing time the moment you find 5 things to be proud of from the day. Try saying them out loud in the mirror for an extra boost. This is actually, I think this one's great because, like they said, it's a lot easier to remember our things that we did wrong versus things that we did right. But if you're struggling with that, like they said, writing down the things you've accomplished can be great, especially if you suffer from depression. So if you were to write down everything that you've accomplished today, sometimes we don't even think about it, but the fact that you got out of bed is an accomplishment. The fact that maybe you took a shower, got dressed, put on makeup or not. You don't have to put on makeup. Maybe did some dishes, took your dog out, ate breakfast, like you didn't skip a meal. Those are all accomplishments. So don't downplay the fact that we actually accomplish a lot every day. Number 2, write it out of your head. Our unconscious can be a trickster when it wants to be, and it can be set up to protect us as well. So just journaling might be helpful, but it's unlikely you will allow yourself to really write out your dark secrets. Trick your brain into a proper release of emotions by promising to not read what you write and rip up the paper immediately afterwards. And then go for it. Write out all your dark, harsh, and on occasion self-hating thoughts. Do not worry about penmanship, and if you sound like an angry 5-year-old, then enjoy the ripping. Do, however, follow the protocol of not reading and destroying. The last thing you need to do is turn this into yet another way to torture yourself. This is also great, because when I've done groups before in the past, it's really helpful to do journaling, especially if it's like a journal-free write. So what I've done with clients and even with myself is I'll set a timer for maybe like 2 minutes to 5 minutes. And I just say, write everything that's in your head. It doesn't have to make sense. It's not a story. It's just whatever is in your head, you need to release it. And then when you're done, of course, you can keep it or rip it up and put it in a ball and throw it out. And I'm telling you, it feels really good. Oh, Trina says, good ideas, especially journaling. Thank you. I agree. Number 3, win with well-being activities. Always being hard on ourselves is fed by core beliefs that we don't deserve good things or to feel happy. If you don't know what core beliefs are strong held thoughts and beliefs about who we are and the world that we live in. So a lot of negative core beliefs happen when you're really young, and it might be something like, I'm a failure, I don't deserve to be loved, I don't deserve happiness, things that kind of sound like that, which kind of goes along with when we were talking about negative self-talk in general. So what's a better way to counter these negative core beliefs than to do things precisely chosen for the way they make us feel so good? Well-being activities are the things that make you personally feel elevated and energized. You can't choose them based on what you think other people like to do, but on you. So I was thinking, okay, well, what are some well-being activities? And it is kind of like about what you enjoy doing, what's something that you enjoy doing. So I said some examples include yoga, dancing, going on a walk in nature, taking a hot bath, watching a funny movie, watching the clouds or stars in the sky, playing with a pet. I like this. Visit a favorite vacation spot in your mind. So think back about somewhere that you enjoyed and the memories maybe you have. Cool. Does anyone have any well-being activities they want to share? I know for me, I like to do anything art related, and I've always found art to be a coping skill of mine because when I draw or paint or color, I'm able to not think about, things that maybe would stress me out normally, and I'm actually able to kind of space out in a way that I can really enjoy the art that I'm making. All right, so number 4, do a friend detox. We can hardly feel good about ourselves if we constantly surround ourselves with people who are unkind to us or even bully us. So we might need to re-educate ourselves about what a good friend actually is. Then try to get out there and change up our social circles. But before you go and get rid of real friends, note that sometimes we are actually pushing our friends to criticize us without realizing it. Okay, so that can happen. But I like that because it's basically talking about, maybe surrounding yourself with people that treat you the way that you like to treat others or that you deserve to be treated, that support you, and that try to kind of pull you up if you're falling down. Sometimes we have to deal with difficult people, sometimes in our family, sometimes at work, other situations, which you can be cordial with, but you don't have to be best friends with someone who's super negative and puts you down. Number 5, start the self-compassion. Self-compassion is the practice of being kind and understanding to ourselves when confronted with a personal flaw or failure. Research has found that a big barrier to self-compassion is a fear of being complacent or losing our edge. However, other studies have shown that self-compassion has been shown to support motivation and positive change. So how can we practice self-compassion? First, make the choice that you'll at least try a new approach to thinking about yourself. Commit to treating yourself more kindly. Call it letting go of self-judgment, going easier on yourself, practicing self-compassion, or whatever resonates most. One of the most portable and evidence-based practices for noticing our thoughts and learning to let them go is meditation. Try mindfulness meditation, which involves anchoring your attention on the breath as a tool to stay present without getting lost in judgments, stories, and assumptions. You can also interrupt the spiral of negative self-talk by focusing your energy on something external that you care about, which can help you establish perspective and a sense of meaning beyond yourself. If you can do things to get yourself out of your head, like going out and volunteering or doing something nice for a family member, These things can help lift the negative voices that are going on in your head, said Emily Smith, author of The Power of Meaning, Crafting a Life That Matters. The second step to self-compassion is to meet your criticism with kindness. If your inner critic says you're lazy and worthless, respond with a reminder you're doing your best, or we all make mistakes. Make a deliberate, conscious effort to recognize the difference between how you feel when you're caught up in self-criticism and how you feel when you let go of it. And I can tell you that how you feel when you let go of it is much better than when you're caught up in your self-criticism. Because letting go, well, basically, when you have anger and hate towards yourself or even towards other people, the only person that suffers is yourself. If you don't like someone else, they're not going to have any negative effects from the fact of how you're feeling. So when you're able to learn to let go of these feelings, and especially feelings of towards yourself, it's almost like a huge weight is lifted off your shoulders. Okay, let's see. You can also, make a deliberate, conscious effort to recognize the difference. Okay, I just said that, sorry. Think about it this way. How much better might it feel to take a breath after making a mistake rather than berating ourselves? Practice what it feels like to treat yourself as you might treat a friend. In order to trade in self-abuse for self-compassion, it has to be a regular habit. So the next time you're on the verge of falling into a shame spiral, think of how you'd pull your friend back from falling in and turn that effort inward. If it feels funny the first time, give it second, third, and fourth times. Try this. I like this. Write a letter to your best friend. Tell him or her what you like about him or her, what you think about something they are struggling with lately. What advice do you have for him or her? Now read the letter aloud, but change the name to your own name. How strange does it feel? And what would it feel like to talk to yourself like that all the time? When I was struggling before and I felt like I was negative a lot, I actually asked certain people in my life if they could write down, at least one thing that they felt like I was doing well in, and also some things that I could improve on. And as much as I didn't want to, read what you could improve on, I already knew I needed to improve on certain things. And it actually felt really good because I could still hold on to all the positivity. And even when it was things I should, or that I can work on, it wasn't negative. So I like the whole idea of like writing something like that to a best friend, but really to yourself. So I think that's really a good idea. Number 6, kill the comparison. Comparing ourselves to others is one of the easiest ways to keep ourselves feeling small. Social media doesn't help the habit. Remember that you are not actually comparing yourself to the other person, but to your perceived idea of them. So, wow. You really have no idea what their private struggles are, and if you did, you might be glad to be you. Wow, I never really thought about that before. And number 7, seek support. Negative thinking can be very addictive. So sometimes we need support to kick the habit. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, can be a powerful start. It focuses on helping you gain control of your thinking. From there, you might find a therapy that looks at your past helpful, such as one that comes under the psychodynamic umbrella. Again, being hard on yourself doesn't come from nowhere. It tends to come from tough childhood experiences or parenting that didn't feed our very real need to be loved and supported just as we are. These things can be quite overwhelming to unpack and process. A therapist creates a safe, non-judgmental space to explore and heal. All right. So that was the article. What did you all think about those articles, I guess, combined? Or did you get anything out of what I was talking about? I think that was really good because what I found was interesting was that part of the article that I was reading was from the New York Times, so that's United States based, and part of it was from the UK, and kind of the different ways that they look at something like the being hard on yourself. So I thought that was interesting. All right. And lastly, Trina said, yes, it was very informative. Great. I'm glad you thought so. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to walk us through our guided imagery script, A Walk on the Beach. I'm reading this out of Living a Healthy Life with Chronic Conditions book. Steve and I just finished a workshop on facilitating this class. It's all about learning how to live your best and healthiest life with chronic conditions. And we're actually going to be teaching this class. So if you're interested and you'd like to learn some more, just contact your HHCD office or Steve or I, and we can tell you a little bit more. All right, so if you're sitting, you want to get in a comfortable position. Try to have your back straight, your feet flat on the floor, your hands maybe on your lap or to your side. And we'll get started. If you'd like to close your eyes, you can, but you don't have to. Begin by getting into a comfortable position, whether you are seated or lying down. Loosen any tight clothing to allow yourself to be as comfortable as possible. And cross your legs and allow your hands to fall by your sides or rest on your lap. And if you are uncomfortable, shift to a more comfortable position. When you are ready, you may allow your eyes to close gradually and turn your attention to your breathing. Allow your belly to expand as you breathe in, bringing in fresh new air to nourish your body, and then breathing out. Notice the rhythm of your breathing in and out without trying to control it in any way. Simply attend to the natural rhythm of your breath. And now, in your mind's eye, imagine yourself standing on a beautiful beach. The sky is a brilliant blue, and as some fluffy white clouds float slowly by, you drink in the beautiful colors. The temperature is not too hot and not too cold. The sun is shining. And you close your eyes, allowing the warmth of the sun to wash over you. You notice a gentle breeze caressing your face, the perfect complement to the sunshine. Then you find yourself turning and looking out over the vastness of the ocean. You become aware of the sound of the waves gently washing up on shore. You notice the firmness of the wet sand beneath your shoes, or if you decide to take your shoes off, you may enjoy the feeling of standing in the cool, wet sand. Perhaps you allow the surf to roll up and gently wash across your feet, or perhaps you just stay out of its reach. In the distance, you hear some seagulls calling to one another, and look out to see the birds gracefully gliding through the air. And as you stand there, notice how easy it is to be here. Perhaps noticing some sensations of relaxation, comfort, or peace, whatever's there. Now, take a walk along the shore. Turn and begin to stroll casually along the beach, enjoying the sounds of the surf, the warmth of the sun, the gentle massage of the breeze. And as you move along, taking your time, your stride becomes lighter, easier. Notice the scent of the ocean. You pause to take in the freshness of the air. And then you continue on your way, enjoying the peacefulness of this place. After a time, you decide to rest a while, and you find a comfortable place to sit or lie down. And simply allow yourself to take some time to enjoy this, your special place. And now, when you feel ready to return, you stand and begin walking back down the beach in a comfortable, leisurely way, taking with you any sensations of relaxation, comfort, peace, joy, whatever's there. Noticing how easy it is to be here. Continuing back until you reach the place where you began your walk. And now, pausing to take one last look around, enjoying the vibrant colors of the sky and the sea, the gentle sound of the waves washing up on the shore, the warmth of the sun, the cool of the breeze. And as you prepare to leave this special place, take with you any sensations of joy, relaxation, comfort, peace, whatever's there, knowing that you may return at any appropriate time and place of your choosing. And now, bringing your awareness back into the room, focusing on your breathing in and out taking a few more breaths. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. I think that if maybe you're newer to mindfulness meditation, or really at any point, but I find that these guided imagery scripts or tapes or whatever you listen to can be really helpful, because it walks you through imagining something. And while you're imagining it, you can't be thinking about everything going on that's stressing you out. So there's certain guided meditations that will have you focus on your breath, but then they give you a lot of like super quiet time, which is great, but sometimes your mind starts getting flooded. So I'd say that if you like that, just look into more kind of guided imagery scripts. There's another one I think that I've done with all y'all before, a walk in the country. But I think they're really great because you're given an idea of kind of what to see. And since you're visualizing that and focusing on your breath, it really allows you to detach from thinking and the negative thinking. So, all right, great. Thank you all for coming. If you ever have any suggestions, ideas, questions, concerns, let me know. Ideas of topics, I'm always interested. But I'm very happy that you're all here, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. All right, bye-bye.